Major support for Do the Math has been provided by Chevron, the Kern County Superintendent of Schools, Edison International, California Resources Corporation, Kern Schools Federal Credit Union, Panama Buena Vista Union School District, Bakersfield City School District, and the Kern High School District, with additional production assistance provided by these supporters of education in Kern County and throughout the state of California.
We're here live at Franklin Elementary School, home of the Falcons. And today, we're all here to...
Well, good afternoon and welcome to Do the Math. I'm Michael.
And I'm April. And if you have questions and you'd like to give us a call, you can reach us here at 636-43. If you are in San Luis Obispo, you can reach us in that area. You can reach us at 1-866-636-6284. You can also email us at dothemath@kern.org, or you can watch us online at dothemathonline.net. You can look for us on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube.
That thing doesn't end, does it? Always, every single year, there are more additions to where we're at. Anyway, nice to have April in studio with us again today, because we have got you working a lot along with the school district. You're always out and about, and it's only occasional when we get you to come into the studio and actually do some work with us, instead of working at the schools and things like that.
I'm glad to be here today.
Well, you know what? We're glad to have you. We also have another very special guest in studio. We'll meet her a little bit later on. Speaking of the email, there was an email that came in, and it was from one of the teachers at one of the schools in Wasco, I do believe, and we're going to hand that over to the associate producer. And that way they can take a look and see what exactly they need on the email, because I think they needed some posters, some stickers, some binder dividers and things like that. So that email is out there, and we'll get a hold of them and let them know, hey, we're going to send out more materials for you. Simply let us know if you need more. We'll be happy to send them out to you. We will be visiting out to Franklin Elementary School in Devin in a little bit, but before we get to all of that, let's first take a look at today's Math in the News. All right, well, today's Math in the News, kind of in a roundabout way, has to do with the fair. So you know that the fair is going on right now.
Yes.
Have you been to the fair this year?
Yes, I went on Monday.
Oh, good. All right. Well, you know what? We were out there on Tuesday. Yesterday, we were able to visit some folks with Buena Vista Museum, and we went over and saw one of the girls with, I think it was Frontier FFA, and talking about her pigs that she raised, and then she's going to bring them to auction, and then the process goes on from there. But did you have anything to eat at the fair?
I had the same thing that I usually have, a baked potato.
All right. Well, that's always a tasty little treat right
there. I did
there.
find something new, though, at the fair that I hadn't seen before.
Did you try it or you just saw it?
I saw it. It was an exhibit hall, and they had photography and produce and lamb's fur, sheep's fur, and I've never been in there before, and that was quite interesting.
There you go. Something new all the time out at the Kern County Fair.
Yes.
Well, one of the other big items that a lot of people enjoy is popcorn, and that has to do with today's Math in the News. So do you often get popcorn when you go to the movies?
I do, all the time. I bought caramel corn for my daughter, though, when I went to the fair.
Oh, I guess I was going to say, I didn't think they'd have that at the regular movie theaters, the caramel corn. And that will kind of tie in as to maybe why they don't have caramel corn at the movie theaters. But movie theaters themselves have been around since the very early 1900s. One of the first ones dates back to 1905. That year, a pair of entrepreneurs in Pittsburgh opened what was known as a Nickelodeon, a storefront theater that played silent movies on a continuous loop. Now, a trip to the movies became more and more popular as movies started getting longer and there were more of them. The small Nickelodeons needed to expand, but they weren't able to do so, so they were replaced by larger venues. Now, the new movie theaters It was like a fancy experience. All right, so we're going to go to the next slide right here. As the New York Times reported, after you bought a ticket, you might pass through gilded archways and ascend a grand staircase lighted by a crystal chandelier to find your velvet seat. It was more like a visit to a modern opera than to the next regular movie. And just like the opera, popcorn, as well as all other food and drink, was prohibited. So they had these nice movie theaters, right? And just like the opera, you don't want people in there munching and drinking and eating and making a slob of themselves and leaving a mess all over the place, right? So in 1929, the Great Depression hit, all right? People couldn't afford to go to the movies and things like that as much anymore. Theaters partnered with popcorn vendors to provide snacks for the guests. In 2 years, the theaters with popcorn saw their profits soar and the other ones went down. So popcorn was now allowed in movie theaters, and popcorn allowed movie theaters to survive.
I love
So
popcorn.
it seems like every single person gets popcorn when they go to the movies, just about. And today, the same is still true. Most movie theaters make more money from the concessions than they do the films. CNN reported most of the money from ticket sales goes back to the movie studio, and if it weren't for the popcorn, theaters would go out of business.
That makes total sense.
So we're going to take a little bit of look at the math here. So they were talking about profits and losses. So we take a look at a statement right here. This is an example of, here we've got net sales of $330,000. And you can take a look at the different expenses and then what they make after taxes and things like that. So basically you're looking at net sales, you have $330,000. But the bottom line is you're coming out with maybe 19. That's quite, okay, so here's another one. It's not as complicated, all right? So revenue, Bob's Bakery, okay? Sold $100,000 worth of goods. A lot of cakes going out, all right? For the goods, it cost him money to produce these items. So it cost $38,000, so he made $62,000. That's the profit. Then you take a look at all the expenses. So insurance, payroll, rent, supplies, things like that. Those are $37,000. So out of the $100,000, he actually gets to keep a net income of $25,000. And that's how this all ties in together to movies, the popcorn, the fair, and that is today's Math in the News. So I just found that kind of interesting. You know, I was like, hey, let's check out the popcorn and all the...
And you don't always think of that. But good thing they cost more at the concession stand than at the ticket booth, because then movie theaters can make more money.
Right, there you go. So, in studio with us right now, we have Ava. How are you?
Good.
Why don't you let everybody know where you go to school and what grade you're in?
Stockdale Elementary, and I'm in 6th grade.
How's 6th grade going?
Good.
What's so good about it?
It's really fun.
Great. What's so fun about it?
Reading.
So you like the reading, okay? So what are you guys reading right now? Do you have a regular reading book, or are you doing like a core lit book, or what kind of things are you doing?
We're doing a core lit book.
And what one is it, if you don't mind me asking?
It is Anne Frank.
So the Diary of Anne Frank. Oh, you know what? You're going to learn quite a bit from that book. It's an excellent book to read. Have you guys just started it, or are you getting into it a little bit
We
now?
just started it.
So you just started it. All right. Well, you know what? That's one of the big things in 6th grade. You know what another big thing is? Camp Keep. Have you heard anything about this at all?
Yes.
What have you heard about Camp Keep?
You go camping for a week, and you stay in cabins, and you get to go and do all kinds of stuff.
Do you think you'll have popcorn there?
No.
No, probably not. But you're going to have a lot of fun going camping and doing other things like that. Well, you know what? We have a couple of moments before we go back out to visit Devin at Franklin Elementary. So why don't we head on over to the board right now, and we're going to take a look at one of your problems, okay? So you go to the board with April, and you know what? We're going to do the number 7, I think it is, first. Or, well, let's hear. We're going to go to, well, you got a lot on this one problem. All right. Well, you know what? Let's do the bottom part first, because that won't take as long. So here we go. The table below shows the amount of calories Mike burns as he runs. So if you want to, you can kind of make a little table like that, and I'll move it up so everybody can see it there on TV. And April, you might need to help her. You might need to make that a little bit longer.
Okay.
And actually, we don't need as many rows, maybe more columns.
More columns? let's go here. So what's the title of our, well, I don't know if I need that many. What's the title of our column?
All right, so all the way over on the left, we're going to go number of miles. So on the left, it's going to be number of miles.
Number of miles? I'm going to write it really quickly, okay?
And under that, we'll put calories burned.
Can we go this way, calories burned? Or do you want it?
You can do it, I mean, you can do it either way. I mean, we were just going to do it the way it is in their book, but.
Okay.
So if you look on the other screen, you can see how the miles run is on top and the calories burned is underneath. And then we'll go ahead and fill in some numbers.
Thank you. So what we're going to do is...
Oh, gave you the buzz earlier.
Oh, no.
Nice of him in the back, huh?
Okay, so what do we have here?
All right, so number of miles, the first one is 3. Next to that is 6, 9, and then 12. And under that, for the calories burned, we have 360 under the 3, 720 under the 6, nothing under the 9, but under the 12, it's 1,440. So you need to find what goes under the 9 and kind of explain to April how you want to do this problem.
How would we like to do this problem?
Divide 3 by 36.
Why would we do that?
To see what it multiplies by.
And what would we do? Go ahead. And what would we do with that multiplier?
Multiply it by...
Hold on 1 second. What's 3 times 12?
36.
36. So how did we get this 0 right here? So should we take off this 0 as well? This one right here? Okay, now what?
Now multiply it by...
Are we finished?
Yes.
So what happens with this 0 right here?
We drop it down.
Okay. But do we have to fill?
Yes.
Why are you putting a 0 right there?
Because 3 goes into 0 times.
Perfect. Okay. So what does 120 tell us?
To multiply it by, well, that the number of miles times 120 gets you to the calories burned.
Okay. So the number of miles divided by, or times 120 gets me to the calories burned.
Yes.
Okay. So I'm going to take that and multiply by 9 to get to the calories burned. Correct?
Yes.
Okay. And where would you put that?
Under the 9.
Yes. Do you know what else this 120 tells us?
No.
Okay, so after 3 miles, there's 360 calories. Whoa!
Didn't know you could do that with the board, huh?
Is the board buzzing me? Or is someone else buzzing me? 3 miles, there's 360 calories burned, right?
Yes.
And after 6 miles, there's 720 calories burned. This 120 tells us how many calories are burned for every 1 mile.
120.
Yes, that's what it tells us.
There you
for
go.
1
So
mile.
a unit rate. So you've got the unit rate right there.
That's a unit rate.
Nicely done, Ava. 636-4357 is the phone number. We do have phone tutors available until 5:30 this afternoon. Right now, we'll go out live to Franklin Elementary and visit with Devin.
Hey, thanks a lot, Mike. We are here at Franklin Elementary School with a very close-knit community of learners. Ladies, say hello to everybody. I was expecting one person to go, hello, everybody, just to be that funny dad joke person that just repeats everything I said. But we're here. We've got some really clever learners here, and we're going to discuss some concepts of math that, going back, we started to explore as early as first grade. And we're going to launch this off with a same or different discussion. Now, for those of you that aren't familiar with same or different, we're going to go ahead and throw 2 images, expressions, figures, numbers we don't know. up on our board here. And I'm going to ask you to take about 30 seconds of good, quiet, reflective think time. And those of you at home can join us on this as well. And really just think about what you notice. Consider what you see, and then I'm going to ask a question that you'll be able to discuss in your pairs immediately afterwards. And I want to thank Jenny Pike at Rockland Academy in Rockland, California for submitting this prompt to us. We're debuting it for the very first time here on our program. Are you ready? Okay.
Yep.
So, take a look at our board and consider these two. Don't worry about the questions yet. Just think about these two and what you notice about them, okay? Those of you watching at home, make sure that you join along with us here, because you're just as integral a part of this conversation as those of us here at Franklin. In about 10 seconds, I want you to pair up with your shoulder partner and discuss with each other what is different about these two. Are you ready?
Yes.
And I want you all the way at volume 4. You never get to volume 4 in the classroom, right? They always tell you 0 or 1. No, we're going big today. Volume 4. Are you ready?
Yeah.
What is different? Go.
Okay, so, you go first. Okay, I think, okay, so you know how there's like a big, medium, and tiniest fish? Yeah. It's like the same with the numbers, because there's 2, 6, 0, 3, and then, wait, I didn't say that right.
It's 2,603.
So
Yeah,
I want
and
you
then
to
it gets
join in on
smaller.
our conversation here. We're going to go ahead and share over here. What's your name?
Other ones.
Ava, hi. You guys go ahead and keep talking. I wanted to get your thoughts on this image. So, what is different about these two images?
It gets bigger. On this one, it gets bigger, it goes to biggest.
But what is different about them? I want to start off with that. What is different?
Biggest on this one. And on this one, it goes biggest to smallest. Their shape.
So, explain what you mean by their shape.
Well, see how that one is? It's like a square, and it goes up and then turns, and then this one just goes curves, and this one goes like a little bump, and then it curves.
So, you see some geometry within these two as far as the fish kind of represent, you see some squares, or at least some right triangles built within, whereas you see a lot more curves in the numbers in the one on the right. That is really insightful. I would have never associated that. You made an observation with the size in relation to them, and I want to get to that in a little bit, okay? But I want to hear what everybody else had to say first. Thank you, Ava, for that conversation. I want to go ahead and hear from your conversations about what you noticed with each of these. So what is something you noticed as different? And let's go to each of our pairs. One thing that was different about these two.
So on that side, like the shape, like this,
Yes.
is coming from that side.
So you see arrows within these two, and on the left, there are arrows pointing one way, but on the right, you see the arrows or the comparison symbols pointing the opposite way. So the arrows we see in both are pointing in different directions. Really interesting connection there. Let's go to another one of our pairs here. What did you notice was different about these two?
This is a picture, and the other one is a non-picture.
Absolutely straightforward. It's the first thing I think we noticed. This deals with images. This is an inequality expression. Absolutely. Let's go ahead and go to one more of our pairs here. What did you notice was different about these two?
I noticed that the picture are animals, and the numbers, well, are numbers.
They're numbers, right. So, I want to shift this conversation now to what is the same. And I'll open this up to the whole group. What is the same about these two figures?
They're all animals.
I don't know if these values are necessarily animals. The picture that deals with animals, but you had an idea here?
There are arrows on both of them.
They both feature arrows. Okay, what else is the same about these two? I want to share something that Ava said. Would you mind sharing what you said about how these were the same?
Oh, yeah, because they have shapes.
They both had shapes, but you said something before that. In regards to their size.
Yeah, because it's how they curve. The first one is like pointy and then it turns, and then this middle one, it's like more curvy.
You also observed something as far as the order of the images, right? What did you notice about the order of both of these images?
It goes biggest to smallest.
So you start with the largest on the right, leading to the smallest on the left.
Yeah.
And that's an interesting comparison. Now, how many of you have seen comparisons with more than two values? Couple. So what we're going to talk about when we come back are the different ways in which we can compare numbers and represent value sets using inequalities and more than two figures. But for now, we're going to send it back to the studio. Mike, take it away.
All right, thanks for that, Devin, and the students out at Franklin Elementary. 636-4357 is the phone number. We do have phone tutors available until 5:30. Also, we have a very special contest going on with two of the schools over in San Luis Obispo County. Those two schools know who they are. Any student that calls in from that county, though, automatically receives Dr. Bernstein's Ice Cream Lab ice cream. You like ice cream?
Yeah.
That's good stuff. Do you have a favorite flavor? Vanilla. You would be able to eat all of it because mine is chocolate and I'll eat all of that. Sound all right? So if we each have a gallon of our favorite ice cream, I will not take any of yours. All right? But are you going to take any of my chocolate? No. That's right. You're not going to take any of that. Anyway, right now we're going to go to the phones. And Caitlin, how are you today?
Good.
And are you a student at Reagan Elementary?
Yes.
All right. Go ahead and read us that math problem as soon as you're ready.
Mitch planted cabbage, squash, and carrots on his 125-acre farm. He planted half the farm with squash and 22% with carrots. How many acres did he plant with cabbage?
Okay, so half of the acres are squash.
Yes.
And 22% carrots. And you
Yes.
want to know how many acres are cabbage.
Yes.
All right, I think April's got the important information up there, so you girls can take it away.
Okay, so Caitlin, where should we start?
So I did 50 plus 22.
So you did 50 plus 22, and 50 represents,
Half of the farm was squash.
say it
Or
one more time for me.
50%.
50%, so 50 represents 50% of the farm, the acres of squash?
Yes.
Okay, and you added 22% to that?
Yes.
Okay, and so how much, what's the percentage that we have when we add that?
72%.
Okay. And how can we find cabbage?
I did 100 minus 72.
So we take the percentage that we know is already planted with carrots and squash, we subtract that and we get what?
28.
28%?
Yes.
And what does this 28% represent?
28% represents how many acres of cabbage?
Okay, so can you read me the question one more time?
Mitch planted cabbage, squash, and carrots on his 125-acre farm. He planted half the farm with squash and 22% with carrots. How many acres did he plant with cabbage?
Okay, so can we say that 28% is our answer, or where do we go from here?
No. So I did 28 over 100 times 125.
So we have 28 out of the 100%, and you multiply that by 125?
Yes.
And what did you get?
35 acres.
So we can also take this 28%, and can you turn that into a decimal?
Yes.
Or did you just multiply straight across? Did you multiply 125 times 28? Or
No,
did you simplify?
I turned it into a fraction, so it was 28 over 100 times 125, and then I cross-canceled.
Okay, so let's cross cancel. So what would I
Yeah, that
divide
little
100
spot
by?
on the board, April.
Huh?
There's a little spot on the right-hand side of the board where it kind of doesn't flow evenly. You'll see on the zeros on the 100.
Okay.
So there's just a couple of little spots like that.
Okay, so we can divide 100 by what number?
25.
25, and what's 100 divided by 25?
4.
And we can divide 125 by,
25.
and that is?
5.
Okay. So when we do that, what else can we do? Can I divide 28 by 4?
Yes.
So 28 divided by 4 gives me,
7.
okay. And 7 times 5 is?
35.
And that is perfect, Caitlin.
Thank you.
Nicely done. Now, Caitlin, are you still on the phone with me? Are you still there, Caitlin?
Yes.
All right, so let's take a look at it and reason through this just for a moment. So we know that cabbage is 28%, right? That's about a fourth of the whole thing. Would you agree?
Yes.
Okay, so if we look at 125 and just make it 120, all right? So just think about 12 with a 0, so 120. So think about a fourth of 120. So think about 12 divided by 4, what would that be?
30.
30, right? So it would be 30, and 35 is around what you got, right? So
Yes.
you know kind of reasonably that that is going to probably be the correct answer, and then you can check it and add up all your percentages and things like that, but nicely done. And for your effort today, we will be sending you to the Kern County Fair, so congratulations on that. We hope you have an opportunity to head on out there, and maybe you can see the pig that was on the show yesterday. Never can tell. Ava, we're going to put you back to work, but we'll do that right after this. Today we're in Arroyo Grande. We're at Ocean View Elementary, home of the Cougars, and we're here to All right, we're back at Ocean View Elementary School. We've got 3rd and 4th, as well as 5th and 6th grade students working with pentominoes for the first time out here. So earlier, they were taking a look at the pentominoes, figuring out some things about them, what size they are, what shape they are, how they kind of fit together. So now we're going to put forth the challenge to the students and see how they do with this. So we're going to have you two work together. So maybe, there you go. We'll have you two work together. All right, boys, you're right there. You're the lucky recipient that gets to work on your own until I get back and help you out, all right? And here we go. Girls, there's yours, and boys, there you are. So let's take a look at the top. It says, use the grid to help you create some of the thousands of different rectangles of many shapes and sizes you can create with pentominoes. So here's the first thing I want you to do. I want you to make a rectangle of any size using more than one pentomino. Because if we use the one that kind of represents the letter I, is this a rectangle? Yes, so somebody could go, oh, I put it down and I've got a rectangle.
You got it.
Well, that's the easiest one. What I want you to do is use a couple of pentominoes, make a rectangle, we'll come by, see what you've got. After you do that, make a different rectangle. So there you go, you got started without even being over here to help you out. All right, nicely done. So what pieces did you use there?
I used this L.
And you say that's the L.
And then I used that one.
What do you think that would be?
A P.
A P,
And
right?
then a C.
A C or a
U.
U, right? Either way. So nicely done. So you use 3 to get a rectangle. So try some different pieces, or you could make that one larger. So once you make a rectangle, let us know. We'll come by, take a look at it. How are you guys doing over here?
I already had a rectangle, but then I destroyed it, so I can make it.
You girls are going. See if you can get something to fit right there and over, maybe. Oh, it overlaps a little, huh?
Oh, we got another one.
You got another one? Let's see what you've got. So, Bigger, and there you go.
A square is a type of rectangle still.
That's right. A square is a rectangle, but is a rectangle a square?
No.
That's the question for you. And you answered correctly, no, it's not. Ooh, 1 over right there, boys. So close on that one. Young lady, you've got another one already?
Yeah.
Nicely done.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so you guys get the idea of how to make rectangles with the pentominoes? Here's the last thing I want you to do with these. All 12 of those pieces will fit on that grid. See if you can fit all the pieces on the grid. So every piece fits on that grid with no overhangs and no overlaps. So see if you and your partner can make them all fit on the grid. And I'll give you another minute to see if you can do it, and if not, we'll give you a little more time afterwards.
Maybe that's the I think we should. Oh, yeah. Come on, that's my favorite. Oh, wait, this goes off it.
This piece right here. And then that's the markers.
Close it is.
Wait, there's no two.
How does this work? It's so close. Okay.
Close it is.
Yeah. Is there
All right, the students are finding out they can find a lot more rectangles on there and a lot of different shapes that they can use with the pentominoes. We'll let them continue seeing if they can fill in the entire grid with all 12 pentominoes here at Ocean View Elementary.
We need something to get right here.
Oh yeah, we do.
Oh, here we go.
And once again, a big thanks to the staff and students over at Ocean View Elementary and the principal, Mr. Grumbles, for inviting Do the Math out there this year. We do have phone tutors available until 5:30, and we have a couple of moments right now, so you can rest easy for a couple of moments, because we're going to go live once more out to Franklin Elementary and check in with Devin.
Hey, thanks a lot, Mike. Back here at Franklin Elementary School in our conversation about inequalities. A really interesting moment happened while you guys were at break. We were just about to jump into compound inequalities, which we'll revisit later. But we started writing some of them, and we started talking about those symbols. And I asked our group here, okay, so how have you learned to make sense of what symbol means what? And very much like many of us growing up, we got the explanation of the alligator, or Pac-Man, or some sort of giant beast that devours tiny numbers. And I always wondered, why do the smaller numbers end up getting eaten? Like, how come like they can't just be? Like, they always have to go through some sort of digestive process. It's really unfair. And it's not even the real reason why whoever decided in the math world, the powers that be, why do we use these arrows? That's something that bugged me for a long time, and it's something we were talking about. So we decided we were going to have a conversation about what these arrows really mean. And the secret to these arrows is where comparisons truly lie, on a number line. We started talking about some of the numbers that we played around with. We came up with a couple of 3-digit values, 483 and 538. Now, if I was to put these two on an open number line, and you know, when I say open number line, I mean a number line that doesn't already have the numbers laid out and written for you. So you can put these values anywhere on a number line. Come on up. What's your name? Darwin. I want you to introduce, well, come on out of the chair first, Darwin. Say hi to everybody at home.
Hi.
I'd like you to do me a favor, okay? Could you take our red pen here and put 483 somewhere on this number line, okay? Awesome. Can you go ahead and make a line to mark off that that's 483 there, okay? So there's a lot of things that we know now about 483 and where all of the other values might be, right? Could you do me a favor? Could you put that second value, 538, on the same number line? That's fine. So this is where 538 is going. Can you explain, Darwin, why you decided to put 538 there?
Because 538 is greater than 483.
So 538 is greater than 483. How do we know that greater numbers belong over there?
Because whatever my teacher says is, wait, never mind.
Oh, maybe that's not something we wanted to put on television. But go ahead.
Because this is greater because the greater or least sign is like in a way where the greater or least sign eats the greater number and leaves the least number.
I don't see anything being eaten here, though.
No.
But what I do see is a comparison of these values. Inherently, you knew to put all these greater values on this side of values that are less. So what is another way we can explain the relationship between these two? So if I start off with describing where 483 is in comparison to 538, what words could I use to describe that? So if I had a sentence frame, 483 is blank of 538. Darwin or anybody else, what words can we use to describe that placement? Is 483 greater than?
No. 483 is less than 538.
It is. Okay, so less than. I want you to remember that. Less than. That's going to be important. How else can we describe the location of 483 as it relates to 538? Where is 483? What word can we use to describe it? Okay, is to the beginning. So when we think of directions, like think about your directions, up, down. Yes?
The right.
Is 483 to the right of 538?
No.
The right. So remember how, the way that I remember, like left and right. I don't know if you guys remember this.
Right.
And
right.
this
Handy
is
right.
well, not all people write with their right hands,
True.
but I remember very vividly. This is what my 11th grade calculus teacher, Mr. Mansky, told us. If you can make an L, it's your left hand.
Yep.
So we said 483 is to the left of 538. Now, Mr. Mansky just retired. Congratulations on a wonderful career of service, Mr. Mansky at Staten Island Academy in Staten Island, New York. What he said was, if you can make an L, you can make a less than sign. In addition to that, when we say that 483 is to the left of 538, what direction is the less than symbol pointing in? Is it pointing to the left or to the right? That arrow is pointing in what direction, everybody?
To the left.
To the left. That is what those arrows mean. Those arrows show the positional relationship between the two values. So if we were to switch it up and say 538 came first with 483, we could say that 538 is to the right of 483. So 538, with an arrow pointing to the right, is greater than 483. Those arrows represent position relationship on a number line. So when we come back, we're going to dive into compound inequalities. All of the ladies in this room are going to create their own and show them here on a number line. For now, back to the studio. Mike, take it away.
All right, thanks for that, Devin, and the students out at Franklin Elementary School. Thought for a moment he was going to do the left hand, right hand, put your left hand in, a little bit of that. For those of you a little bit older, will know what that's all about. Anyway, we do have phone tutors available until 5:30. Ava is well rested. Are you not? Yes, you are. Back to the board, young lady. Let's take a look at one of your other homework problems. Here we go. Mr. Steiner needs to purchase 60 AA batteries. So you can write down whatever you need to. A nearby store sells a 20-pack of AA batteries for $12.49. So a 20 pack is $12.49. And a 12 pack is $7.20. So a
What
12
pack?
pack of batteries.
12 pack.
The 12 pack is $7.20. So the question says, would it be less expensive to get the batteries in 20 packs or 12 packs? And you need 60 of them.
I'm going to write something really quickly.
So what's the better buy?
What are you doing?
12 can't go into 7, so I put a 0.
Okay.
12 can go into 72 6 times.
6 times.
And then 72 divided by 72 is 0.
72
and then
minus 72?
minus
Okay.
72. And that's 0, and then you put the 0 up here.
Because 12 goes into 0.
0 times.
All right. And what does that number represent?
How much each battery is.
Yes, the unit rate. One battery is 60 cents per battery in a 12 pack, right?
Yes.
Okay. And 20 doesn't go into 1. That's why we have that 0 there.
Okay.
Or wait, hold on.
12.
20 doesn't go into
12.
But what happens with our decimal when we divide? Does it go off to the left like that?
You bring it up to here.
So we're going 20 into 12, not 20 into 1.
Yes.
Okay.
And then I'm going to see
How many times?
it can go. 20 can go into 124.
Okay. What's your guess going to be?
6.
We're going to try 6. Does
Okay.
that work?
Yeah.
How do you know it's not 7?
Because I did the math in my head. 7 times 2 is 14,
Okay.
and then the 0, 140.
And so 140 is bigger than, okay.
Yes.
Go ahead. So we know that 6 will work.
Yes. Then drop the 49.
The 4 and the 9
E-
at the same time?
No, just
No,
the
let's
4.
take that 9 off. Just the 4. So what do you know about how many times 20 goes into 4?
0 times.
0 times. Now we can bring down the 9. Okay.
2 times. You can go do it 2 times.
Oh, actually, no, I was wrong. Erase that. My bad. We do bring down the 9. And how many times does 20 go into 9?
0 times.
Okay.
But then you have to round it. Okay.
What
to
are we rounding?
63. Because 9 is, wait.
Now, if you want to round, you're going to need one more number after that 2.
So let's take the equal sign off.
And add a
And
0 after the 9.
We need another number. So we have to add a 0 here. And we'll bring that 0 down. And how many times does 20 go into 90?
4 times. No.
4
Yes, 4
yes,
times.
4 times? Okay.
Oh.
Let's just tap over here. Okay, so now we're in a good position to round. How much would each battery be here? You can go ahead and finish your math there if you like.
10.
Right, add a 0.
We need another 0 here. And then we're going to bring that down. And how many times? Let's bring this down. How many times does 20 go into 100?
5.
5. And 20 times 5 is?
100.
Now we're terminated. We're done, right?
Yes.
No more division. So I need to make this into a unit rate into money. Like how much is each battery in the 20 pack? So let's round this to the nearest hundredth. So where would our decimal go?
Before the 6.
And then a 0 before that?
Yes.
And do we need these zeros right here? Do they add value?
No.
Okay, well, let's erase those zeros. So each battery in the 20 pack costs how much money?
62.
And each battery in the 12 pack costs how much money?
60.
And which is the better buy?
The 12 pack.
Okay, so the 12 pack would be the better buy because
It is less.
the
batteries are less.
So each battery costs less, or the unit rate of each battery is less than the 20 pack in the 12 pack.
There you go. Nicely done. Excellent work. And Ava, come on over here for a moment. You remember how we were talking about Chick-fil-A, and how would the people in the back know that we want to talk about Chick-fil-A? What would you have to do? There you go. Nicely done. So because you've done excellent work and you were able to bring out that right there, you're going to get yourself a little item courtesy of our friends at Chick-fil-A. Well, you know what? Recently, we visited Maricopa Unified School District, tucked away in the southwestern part of Kern County. We did some math with the 7th and 8th graders there, which you'll see coming up in December. But we also caught up with the infamous Dr. Gigawatt, I kid you not, who introduced us to Maricopa Elementary's new Teams Lab, powered by technology, engineering, arts, math, and science. Well, today we're at Maricopa Middle School, and the elementary school and high school are also on the same campus. Home of the Indians. We were doing a little bit of math with the 7th and 8th graders earlier, and you know what? We were walking around and we came across Dr. Gigawatt.
Well, hello.
How are you today?
I'm doing great today.
So tell me a little bit about the lab, the room that we're in, and what's going on.
This is a secret lab, and the students have been empowered to learn how to code from our TK all the way up through our high school. It's important for them to know how to code robots. Unfortunately, Dr. Mad, an evil doctor, has taken over all of our teachers and all of our staffs. They've decoded them. Now it's our job to get them back on track.
So that's what the kids are learning.
That's what the kids are having to, that's the challenge that they have, and they're taking this on. Today's our very first day in the lab, and they're going to get an opportunity to look at different robots and learn how to code. From our kindergarten, who's going to use block coding. And this is Kibo. And this, they actually will learn how to use the blocks for block coding. They don't even have to learn how to code with a computer yet. So our K1 group is going to be learning how to program Kibo in lots of different ways. And there he goes, right off the table. So,
But he's able to keep on going.
and there he goes, right around here, and he moves around. There's lights, there's sound, there's all kinds of sensors. And the students are going to get a chance to actually learn how to control this robot.
And by using the blocks, because you can see, all right, so it's going to begin. So this is the first thing we want to do, go forward, beep, so you've got sounds and all these different things, so they can program and code it in exactly what they want to do.
They will. They'll put it in order, and there'll be challenges along the way in the lab, and then they'll just be able to take it and beam it from the very first one all the way through. And as they do that, it programs the robot to do exactly what they've asked them to do.
And this is for the kindergartens.
K1.
There you go.
And then we move up to our 2nd and 3rd grade, and they're going to be using a different. Dot and Dash is another wonderful robot, and it gets more sophisticated as it goes up. Mr. Winslow, will you show us a little bit about what your 4th grade class is going to be working on this year? And Mr. Winslow and Brooke and Alexis are also in this lab. They put this thing together from start to finish in about 3 weeks' time. So this has been awesome for them.
All right, so our special robot that we're going to be using for our class is going to be the Sphero down here. And the Sphero, it's waterproof, it's shockproof, so it's pretty durable, it's pretty fun. It can be programmed with block coding. It can also be programmed with type coding, or it can be driven with a remote control. So that's what we've been doing. So right now I'm trying to connect it because it accidentally disconnected. Oh, there he goes, and he'll light up. And once he does that, we can just drive him around. And there's all kinds of challenges you can do. We hope to do one in the swimming pool this year, so it'll be super fun. Oh, there he goes. He's going to light up. So now I'm able to go ahead and drive him around.
Not easy though, is it?
It
Mr.
is
Winslow?
not easy, and I have to say the kids are way better at this than us adults are. So
Even on the first day.
even on the first day, so I'm super excited for them.
But you know what? A lot of great things going on in here, Dr. Gigawatt. And I just want to ask you this. Something like this is not like going out buying papers and pencils for the students. This obviously takes a little bit more effort and more money. And who do you have to thank for that right
You
now?
bet. Our Board of Trustees believes in science and believes in engaging hands-on work for our students here. We think it adds into the language arts and mathematical skills that the kids are learning. And so it ties in. So science is the hook that brings in all education and ties it together.
All right. And what have you got here?
This is our 7th and 8th grade kit. And every 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, every student will be putting together their own computer from using the kit, building the whole thing, programming it, and using Minecraft, inside Minecraft to actually do the programming. It's going to be awesome. So every student is going to learn how to build their own computer here in our middle school.
There you go. What? A lot of great things going on out here in Maricopa. And you know what? Dr. Gigawatt, thanks for having us
Thanks
out.
for being out here.
And we can see a little bit about what's happening in Maricopa when they work as a team with all of these activities.
Go team.
Go team!
And once again, a big thanks to the staff and students out at Maricopa Unified School District, and especially Dr. Gigawatt inviting us into the lab. And the entire school has that as their theme. And in the area where they have the stage and like a multi-purpose room where they put on performances, the entire place is transformed into a big laboratory. And throughout the year, they do a lot of activities in there, and that's how they start the school year off. And just a great thing that they do out there with that theme at Maricopa Unified School District. We do have phone tutors available until 5:30. Don't forget, we have a contest going on with a couple of schools over in San Luis Obispo County. And we're going to put you back to work in a little bit. But once again, we have another opportunity to go out to Franklin Elementary and visit with Devin.
Hey, thanks a lot, Mike. Back here at Franklin Elementary School, we are continuing our conversation about inequalities, and we're taking it to the next level with a graphing component. Now, we had an interesting conversation with the ladies before we went to the break about what it looks like when we try to graph inequalities and why it's such a helpful structure. If we had a value, let's say x is greater than 4, sure, we could list everything that's greater than 4, but if we graph it, we can show what those values are that meet that inequality. And we started talking about what that looks like when we use a less than symbol, and we introduced the less than or equal to or greater than or equal to symbol. And then I threw an interesting challenge out to our participants here. We went ahead and we created a compound inequality. So something like this: 13 is less than x is less than 20. And I threw a challenge out to our ladies here, and I asked them to create their very own compound inequality. And they have done just that. And they have gotten very experimental with the ranges, with the values they've chosen, with the symbols that they have decided to use, some less than or equal to, others just less than. Some have a wider range, up to about 150 in the case of Dawson here, but also some in the smaller range. What was your name?
Alexis.
Alexis went with a very narrow range between 15 and 17 here. And I'm glad you did that, because that means something that I want to talk about in a little bit. But the challenge question that led to a very in-depth conversation was, what would the graph of this look like? So one of the things we do with an open number line is we think about the values we want to really focus on. So what values do you think are the most important to put on this number line for graphing? What would you think? What values do you think we should put on this number line for this inequality? Yes.
Probably 13 and 20.
13 and 20, right? Those are our big values. So let's go ahead and put those on our open number line here. Now, I want to think about what values are going to be included in this number line. Let's think about what x could be. If 13 is less than x, but then x is less than 20. What numbers could that include?
15.
15, okay. We could put 15 right here. What else could we include? 17, sure, okay.
16.
16, I would venture that would go right here in the middle, okay. Yes.
19.
19, I can see a pattern here, okay.
14.
14, okay. Are there other values we could include?
18.
18. Is there anything else we could also throw in there?
Nothing.
Well, we have all of our whole numbers, yeah?
11.
Would 11 be less than 13? Is 11 less than 13? It is, but we need 13 to be less than x. So if x is 11, is 13 less than 11?
No.
It wouldn't fit here. It would be outside this range. Now, we can also throw in all the fractions, the mixed numbers, decimals, everything in between. Could we throw in 13 itself? Probably not, right? So we know it would basically be everything between 13 and 20. So instead of listing off every number, let's just color it all in. And we know that 13 can't be included. So would we include 13?
No.
What would we draw around that?
A circle.
A circle that is open. We call that an open dot. If it did include it, it would be closed. What about 20? Same thing here?
Yes.
So this is our graph of the compound inequality 13 is less than x is less than 20. So here's my challenge to you as we wrap up today's show here from Franklin. Go ahead and try to graph the inequality that you have chosen. Now, it doesn't matter what your range is, what your values are. You can use your numbers to build your own. Go ahead and give it a shot. The nice thing about being able to work with an open number line is that you decide what you want that interval to be. You decide how you're going to make sense of the space that you've been given. You don't have to have 0 on your open number line. Those arrows will infer that it's going to be somewhere. But when you start graphing the values, it presents a visual of everything it could be in between. And so we're going to continue to work on these. We'll see if we can put these on the website, on our social media as well, so you can see the work that we're doing here from Franklin Elementary. Wonderful job from the Falcons here. But for now, we're going to go ahead and send it back to the studio. Mike, take it away.
All right, thanks for that, Devin. And once again, a big thanks to all of the staff and students at Franklin Elementary School. 636-4357 is the phone number. We do have phone tutors available until 5:30 this afternoon, as we do most Mondays and Tuesdays throughout the regular school year. We want to also say thank you to April for coming in, and especially a big thank you to Ava for coming in, a 6th grade student doing a little bit of math and showing us some different kinds of problems. And you, young lady, are going to model our new shirt, and you are going to let everybody know that you are now an ambassador for Do the Math. Do you know what that means?
No.
If you're an ambassador for Do the Math, that means you have to tell other people about Do the Math and the services that we have. Can you do that?
Yeah.
Promise?
Yes.
All right, very good then. Until we meet again, continue to do the math.
Major support for Do the Math has been provided by Chevron, the Kern County Superintendent of Schools, Edison International, California Resources Corporation, Kern Schools Federal Credit Union, Panama Buena Vista Union School District, Bakersfield City School District, and the Kern High School District, with additional production assistance provided by these supporters of education in Kern County and throughout the state of California.